Hey, I'm Claire Solomon, Akashic Records practitioner, business strategist, and astrology and human design nerd. And this is the Kinda Cosmic podcast, down-to-earth chats about out-of-this-world stuff. We'll talk Akashic insight, astrology, star seeds, cosmic intel, soul purpose, and all the strange, beautiful ways the universe shows up in everyday life. No fluff, just real talk about being a soul in a human body. Okay, my friends, today we are talking about Mercury. Not just the planet that makes everyone panic 3 times a year. We've already covered that. I will link that episode below. But today we are talking about Mercury in your birth chart and your human design chart, and specifically something called your Conscious Mercury. Because if you've ever wondered, what am I actually here to say? What is my message for the world? Why does my brain obsess over certain themes? Why do I keep circling and researching the same topics over and over? And this is where we look at Mercury. But let's zoom out first. When a soul incarnates, it doesn't just choose life lessons, it also chooses expression. We all know Earth, she's dense, and you need a nervous system to navigate around here, but you also need a brain and language and a communication style, and that is very unique to each individual. Quick Mercury 101 astro lesson. Mercury governs how your mind works, how you uniquely process information, what you are naturally curious about, and the kind of conversations you gravitate towards. It's kind of like the operating system that sits behind your brain, and it shows the wiring of your natural thought patterns and the topics you cannot help but research, the subjects that you end up talking about with people, and it also shows the way that you translate your reality and what you see in the world around you into language. And when you overlay this with human design, we can go deeper and way more nuanced. Your Conscious Mercury gate, stay with me here, I'll explain how to look yours up shortly, but your Conscious Mercury gate is your soul's core message for this lifetime. It's insane that it's just sitting there, like ready to be deciphered. Now, this core message for this lifetime is really not as like dramatic and prophecy on a mountain as it sounds. It's more like if your soul had a podcast, this would be what most of the episodes would be about. Or what do you always end up talking about anyway? Kind of a thing, right? And here's an important key. This isn't a trauma thing, like carried over from past lifetimes that your mind is fixating on. And it's not a wound that you're ruminating over. And it's not a thing that you're desperate to fix. It's something that your mind is already wired to love and enjoy. You chose your exact birth time so that you'd have this exact Mercury placement in this lifetime. You're not being asked to stretch into something foreign and learn a whole new thing to ever be able to communicate your unique message. You're being invited to embody something that has always naturally been there. It's like your soul said before incarnating, let's wire her brain so she cannot stop thinking about this, and then it can be part of her superpowers. So, how to find yours? Here's the practical bit. If you go to any human design chart generator, just Google free human design chart, and you'll enter your birth date, your exact time of birth, very important that it's not a guess, and the place, the location that you were born. When your chart comes up, if you've never pulled your human design chart before, you will 100% say, what in the heck is this? It's basically a picture of a person in the middle with some white and colored shapes in the middle. You'll also see a column of numbers and little symbols down the left-hand side. That is what we call your unconscious or design side of your chart. And down the right-hand side, you'll see another column of numbers and symbols, and that is your conscious or personality side of your chart. And that's the bit we're looking at today. And what you are looking for is your conscious Mercury. So the Mercury symbol looks like a little dude with two antennas on his head. So his body is like a little plus sign, circle head, and two little antennas. It's usually around the sixth one down on the right-hand side. You can also Google what the Mercury symbol looks like if my description didn't make that any clearer. Now, next to that Mercury symbol on the right-hand side, you'll see a number with a decimal point in the middle. The first part of that number will be any number from 1 to 64, as there are 64 gates in the human design system. The second part of that number after the decimal point will be a number between 1 and 6. This is known as the line, and you can ignore that bit for the purposes of what we're doing. So you will have your conscious Mercury gate number now, the number that will be between 1 and 64. Now you have the magic key, my friend. The gate number is your core message. Now, if you want to go deeper with the layering, you can also look at your Mercury sign in astrology, like in your astrology birth chart, separate to this human design chart that you just pulled. And you can look at your Mercury house, i.e. what house your Mercury placement is in your unique birth chart. Because your Mercury sign shows how you communicate best, and your Mercury house shows where you enjoy expressing those ideas. In the exact same way, you can Google free birth chart and pop your details in. Look for the same little antenna dude and see which sign it is in. Maybe Pisces, maybe Taurus, and look at which house your Mercury is in out of the 12 possible houses. So you can think of it like this. Your Mercury sign is your communication archetype. Your Mercury house is the arena which you like to speak in. And your Mercury gate in your human design chart is the actual soul message you are here to embody and express. So let me use mine as an example so I can step you through this. In my chart, my Mercury is in Capricorn. And it's in my 7th house, which is the house of relationships and partnerships and one-on-one work. And my conscious Mercury gate on the right-hand side over there on the human design chart is in gate 10, which I call the self-love illuminator. Now, here's the important bit to understand, right? Each zodiac sign, such as Capricorn or Virgo, each of the 12 aren't just one flavor. They are made up of multiple human design gates. So you might have your Mercury in Libra, but the conscious Mercury gate tells you which specific flavor of Libra your mind is wired through. It's like, yes, you're ordering ice cream, but which exact scoop, which flavor you're having. The sign will give you the archetype broadly, but the gate will give you the detail and the precision. And this is exactly one of the reasons I built my soul code system the way I did. Because once you start layering sign with house with gate together, it can get nuanced quickly. My Capricorn brain wanted a clean, practical way to map it all so it actually makes sense in real life, not like lofty, general, random archetypes, So inside soul codes, I break that layering down step by step by step so you can see how your unique combination works together instead of trying to piece it all together from like 5 tabs open on your laptop. But for now, here's the essence of mine so you can see how this works. Having a Capricorn Mercury means my brain likes structure, mastery, it likes systems, it likes clarity. That's all Capricorn-y stuff. If I just floated around speaking abstract spiritual poetry all day, I would feel really ungrounded and like itchy because my mind wants it organized, accountable, useful, practical. That's just how I'm wired. And the 7th house means I actually love sharing my ideas in relationship, not shouting out into the void, not posting and disappearing. I actually think best in dialogue, and I refine my ideas in conversation. I sharpen my thoughts when I'm sitting across from somebody, even if that across from is this microphone and I'm imagining you walking your dog while you are listening to me. The 7th house is partnerships, one-on-one work, meaningful connection, right? So my mind lights up when I'm exploring ideas and how they relate with someone, when I can feel the resonance and when I can see and sense it landing for someone. Now add in gate 10, which is where my conscious Mercury is. Gate 10 is about self-love, ultimately, but not in a candles and pedicures and affirmations and pretending everything's fine kind of way. Gate 10 is self-recognition. It's the energy of to truly know yourself is to honor how you are uniquely wired. It's the understanding that empowerment doesn't come from trying to be someone else. It comes from deeply understanding the architecture of who you already are. So when I zoom right out and I look at my body of work, what do I keep returning to? It's helping people understand the core of who they are, their wiring, their soul gifts, their past lives, their patterns. It's helping them see that nothing about them is random and their quirks aren't flaws at all, and their sensitivity is usually one of their biggest superpowers, and that their weird obsessions are not actually far-fetched or disjointed. There's a place for all of this. And that's the essence of what gate 10 is. And even before I knew anything about this, I was already talking about self-acceptance through self-understanding, right? Like I was saying things like every person you've been over hundreds of lifetimes has been building to the person you're destined to become in this one. And, you choose your birth time for a specific reason. And that's the current of the way my brain understands the world. Capricorn gives it structure and mastery. The 7th house gives it relational depth, and gate 10 gives it the message. And here's the part that makes me smile. I didn't sit down one day and say, you know what, like my niche in my business is going to be self-recognition through energetic decoding, because I couldn't have actually made that up if I tried. But now it's easy to name. My brain just naturally gravitates there anyway, and the conscious Mercury gate labels it. It's what I read about. It's what I talk about. It's the little nuggets of perspective I drop into conversations when I see someone questioning why they are the way they are. It's what I can't not bring into conversation. That's conscious Mercury. It's not a manufactured thing. It's part of your unique message. But the thing with all of this is the more I embodied self-understanding, right? Like in my own life and understanding my own quirks and how I'm wired, the more clearly I can speak about it. Because you don't become magnetic and helpful to other people by picking some kind of clever, marketable message. You become magnetic by living the one that was wired into you at birth. And for a metaphor, I love a metaphor. If you think of conscious Mercury as the frequency that your little internal radio is permanently tuned to, right? Like you can change the station a little bit, listen to some other stuff that's probably a bit staticky and a bit like off the channel. You can explore side topics, of course, but you always tend to drift back to that clear frequency station, right? You'll notice it in what you bring to conversations. You'll notice it in what you're researching late at night. And you'll also notice it in what frustrates you about the world, because your message isn't just what you love, it's also what you cannot ignore. It's the clear, non-staticky radio station in your brain. So anything that aligns with that clarity, you can't ignore it. It's there so clearly for you. And the deeper, potentially stretchy, uncomfy piece is you aren't here to just speak and communicate your Mercury message. You actually have to live it, right? Because the more you embody that gate energy yourself, the more authentic and more powerful that your communication becomes. You know, people talk about becoming magnetic and a magnetic presence and attracting your ideal people into your life, but ultimately it's just an energy thing, right? Like, sure, you can do a bunch of research on your gate and write some blog posts or social media posts about that theme, but unless you actually own and integrate that thing in your own life, you aren't actually communicating from lived experience at all. And people feel that, right? They might not be able to understand it, but there's a resonance friction there. But let's look at another example. Let's imagine someone has their Mercury in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio Mercury is not small talk energy. Scorpio is what I call the transformative alchemist. This mind does not skim the surface. It wants depth. It wants truth. It wants to know what's really going on underneath the polite conversation. This is the person who, in a meeting or in a group setting, is quietly thinking, yes, but what's the real issue here? What are we skimming over here? Or in a relationship, it's like, yeah, we can talk about who does the washing up more, or we can talk about the actual pattern between you and I. They're not actually as dramatic as the stereotypes make out. I have a lot of Scorpio in my own chart. I love a Scorpio energy, but the Scorpio energy is wired to essentially sense what is hidden. So if you have your Mercury in Scorpio, the mind then naturally gravitates towards Scorpio things like transformation, psychology, power dynamics, emotional truth, and what needs to be purified or released. Now, let's say this Mercury in this example is in the 6th house. The 6th house is the house of health, work, daily rituals, supportive systems. So this person's mind doesn't just want to randomly transform for the show of it. They want to transform the systems of daily life. So they might obsess over, is this routine actually healthy? Or is this work culture that I'm in sustainable long term? Or what is the emotional undercurrent within this relationship dynamic? They're not nitpicky. They are sensing energetic misalignment, which is a Scorpio thing, in practical environments, which is a 6th house thing. Now, let's say this Mercury, what flavor of Scorpio are we looking at? That flavor, what if that is gate 50? The Conscious Mercury is gate 50, which is what I call the value upholder. Gate 50 is about living your values in a way that strengthens the entire group. It instinctively understands that the health of a community or a grouping of people actually depends on the well-being of each and every member. It can feel when the frequency of a group is off. It notices when perhaps fear or traumas or simply like unspoken awkward tension is actually disrupting the harmony of the group. So now let's layer this, look at it in combination. Scorpio Mercury, their brain naturally sees beneath the surface of everything. That Mercury being in the 6th house means that focus is mainly on daily systems, health, and work environments. with that conscious Mercury in gate 50, to go deeper, their mind is wired to uphold values for collective well-being. It goes beyond themselves. So this person's soul message might sound like, let's transform how we operate so it actually supports each and every person here. They might naturally think and speak about ethical workplaces, emotional health in team dynamics, values-driven leadership, healing toxic productivity, restoring integrity in everyday systems and life balance. And here's the beautiful part of it. They might have thought they were just sensitive to things or like too intense, or they're overthinking how these things work or could be done better, but they're not. They are wired to alchemize daily environments through principled living. Their brain is tuned to detect, where are we out of integrity here? Where is this system harming the people it's meant to support? This is their message by design, right? Their nervous system cannot not care about this. It's like their internal compass starts buzzing when their values are being compromised. That's gate 50, that's Scorpio Mercury, that's the 6th house. And together it creates this voice that says, we can do this better, and we can do it in a way that actually honors every single person. And again, notice this isn't something that they would have to force. The more that they live in alignment with their own values and the way that their brain is already wired, the more naturally they are able to speak about collective integrity. The embodiment and ownership actually fuels the message. And this is one of the reasons I love this layer so much, because when people understand their conscious Mercury, everything kind of becomes a bit more neatly clicked together. Their messaging, their content, their voice, their authority, their leadership style. And if you are running a business or even just feeling the nudge to share something online or publicly or in person, this is where it can become incredibly powerful. It stops feeling like, oh, what should I say? Staring at a blank screen. What's my niche? Who's my ideal client? How do I stand out? It starts to feel like, oh, this is what I've been saying all along. It's that shift from trying to build a message to uncovering the one that was already there. And that's a big part of what we do inside Soul Codes. It's designed for people who feel called to express something through a business, a body of work, or a platform, but they don't want to force a persona or copy something else that somebody else is communicating or doing. We don't plot and plan and strategize your unique message. We just easily decode the one that you've had since birth. Because when you do that, you're not forcing expression, so it doesn't feel scary or confusing anymore. You just start transmitting what the world has been waiting for you to say all along. So here is your reflection for this week. After you look up your conscious Mercury gate, go and read about it, Google it, look at a few different interpretations on the meaning of that gate. Notice which words or themes make you sit up a little straighter. And ask yourself, what themes around this have I actually been circling my whole life? What do I rant about? What do I research? What do I feel deeply compelled to explain? Because the more you sit with that, the more that you will realize your message has been with you the whole time. It's just now time that you remember it. Because when you understand how your mind is wired, you stop trying to be like more strategic than your soul. And if you're realizing that you don't just want insight, you want to actually now build something aligned with it, that's exactly what Soul Codes is for. It's where we take this kind of self-knowledge and turn it into clarity around your soul purpose, your voice, and the business and body of work that you are actually designed to create. But for now, just notice what your brain naturally returns to. Notice what you care about more than most people around you. Notice the threads, and the more you sit with it, the more you will realize not only has your unique message always been there, but it's needed more in the world right now than you actually realize. So please do share it. And that's it for today's Kinder Cosmic Chat. Find more soul-aligned guidance at clairesolomon.com.